Check, 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 check. 1, 2. Just let me turn around. Give me a sec. Check, check, check. 1, 2, check. 1, 2, check. I'm just going to location. Check, check. 1, 2. Hey, hey. Testing, 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 testing. Looks like sounds good here. Testing. Do you need more? Test, 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 test. Microphone test.
and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we kindly ask you to take your seats. Our ceremony will continue in a while. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, we kindly ask you to take your seats. Our ceremony will continue in a while. Thank you.
Tbilis, Azərbaycan.
O kabinde ne yazmıştı? Azerbaycan yazmıştı.
Yox, heç nə görünmür, işi görünür. Məhəmməd, bunları buraya qədər demişəm ki, bizim də 16 ildə düzdür. Sadəcə yaşlılar şeylidir, tərcüməsi var. ChatGPT-yə qoydum. Açdıqca şey edəcəm, oxuyarım ki, rahat geçsin.
We kindly ask the stakeholders who will be presenting to please come into the hall. Thank you.
Zəhmət olmasa iclas salonuna toplaşasınız. Təşəkkürlər.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear
Xanımlar və
participants,
cənablar,
we
hörmətli
kindly ask you to
iştirakçılar,
take
xahiş
your
edirik ki,
seats. Our
yerlərinizə
ceremony will
geri
continue in a
dönəsiniz.
while. Thank you.
Mərasimimiz birazdan yenidən başlayacaq. Təşəkkürlər.
We kindly ask the stakeholders who will be presenting to please come into the hall.
Xahiş edirik
Thank
ki,
you.
iştirakçılar geri dönsünlər iclas zalına.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, we kindly ask you to take your seats. Our ceremony will continue in a while. We kindly ask Miss Ola Abelgaib, Miss Anna Falu, Mr. John Vanen Zanen, Miss Maride Vaisoki, Miss Sarah Nandudu to join us. Thank you. We kindly ask the stakeholders who will be presenting to please come into the hall. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's first welcome Miss Sarah Nandudu from Uganda representing Slum Dwellers International.
Hello and thank you everyone.
Salamlar, herkesi salamlayıram.
The Executive Director of UN Habitat,
UN Habitat'ın icra.
the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sarah Nandudu. I am the National Coordinator of the National Slum Dwellers Federation of Uganda. We are affiliated to Slum Dwellers International, which is a global network of the people who stay in informal settlements or call them slums. Many of us do not want to hear the word slums, but the reality is they are slums. We prefer a soft language of informal settlements. However, we belong to SDI, which is Slum Dwellers International. I'm very, very happy and excited to be invited as the people who stay in informal settlements, most specifically in the slums, to come and share our ideas on what we think is happening and what we think should be happening. Very grateful to UN Habitat through the leadership of Mama for accepting and recognizing that informal settlers or urban dwellers do have a voice to speak, but also have a bit of solutions to what is happening around the globe. Very excited to hear from different speakers who spoke here. And to me, the language is the same. We speak the same language. We speak same problems, but seems the gap is around the innovations to intervene the challenging issues that we go around in cities. Today we are talking about housing the world. And of course, the main focus we are looking at is the safe, resilient, and communities. But are we really speaking the same language when we speak of what is being guided on here? Those are questions that all of us should be able to say. As SDI, or as Slum Dwellers International and the rest of the grassroots people, we want to say we have mobilized ourselves. We have collected data, community-led data. We have engaged different stakeholders. We have engaged governments. We have solutions to some of the problems. However, we are challenged with lots of challenges, such as policies that do not favor communities. You find that here we come and declare a lot of policies. We are all shouting community involvement, community participations, but when we go back home, the reverse is true. We have had countries where evictions are a big challenge to informal dwellers or slum dwellers. But yet we are saying resilient cities. We are talking of including communities. But back home it is a different story. We are yet to hear a lot more for us to engage with different partners, especially governments, to find solutions to housing, especially in slum communities. Because it looks like in slum communities, the solution is eviction. I have not heard anyone speak here about eviction, but it's what is happening back home. My only thinking and our own suggestion here is, let us sit together, let us plan together, let us engage one another for practical solutions to housing, because you can never build a house in planet Air. You can only build a house on land, but yet land has become for big gangs in cities. I don't know whether those are inclusive cities, but I think to be exclusive cities, because now a poor person can't afford a city, which shouldn't be the case. So what are we trying to say as grassroots people? We are saying, please work with communities. Please put proper policies that are pro-people, policies that support inclusive engagements, policies that support inclusive development, policies that are pro-poor. Yes, we are not saying we do not want policies. We are very much abide by with policies, but can we have policies that are supporting me to stay in the city and have a right to the city? The fact that I'm staying in the slum, there is a reason why I left my home country to come to the city. Therefore, let us work together with government and different agencies to allow us participate and be part and parcel of the cities. But also we request that we recognize the initiatives that communities have already engaged in. We have lots of community-led data that is already packed that we can use to implement solutions in slum communities. We have a lot of information on housing. We have a lot of information on how people stay in these settlements. We are only waiting for partners who are ready to come and work with us. But above all, we want to say that we open channels of financial flow to the marginalized communities, finances that can be accessible by a poor person but can be able to afford a home. I was excited when they opened up with a video of that old mom who had her children from a funny house she had to a small, nice, beautiful house. That is what we yearn for as informal dwellers. We are not saying do not build your skyscrapers, build them, but can I afford it? Many of us say affordable housing in cities, but honestly speaking, someone who is pushing a wheelbarrow, someone who is lifting luggage in a market, someone who is selling tomatoes, can that mother afford a skyscraper? Why don't we join hands with this woman and do in situ slum upgrading other than evicting that mom? She has children to pay fees, she has children to raise, she needs to keep her life going, she has a small job in the city, but our job is to bulldoze her out of the city. Humble request to everyone here, kindly support the marginalized communities, kindly hear our voices, kindly take us to your tables and we discuss tangible solutions that favor you governments and favor communities. We are saying, let us plan together, let's co-plan, let's co-invest, and let's co-create the will for the people to own the city together with everyone. I say this for God and my country. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the World Urban Forum opening ceremony now continues with the Leaders' Statements segment. We are honored to welcome distinguished heads of state, heads of government, and high-level representatives. To moderate this distinguished segment, we are honored to invite to the stage the chairman of the State Committee for Urban Planning and Architecture of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mr. Anar Guliyev. Please join us in welcoming him to the stage and our esteemed leaders as they deliver their statements.
Your Excellencies, heads of states and government, distinguished ministers, esteemed heads of international organizations, honorable mayors, national delegations, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and privilege to welcome you to Baku at the 13th session of the World Urban Forum. Your distinguished presence today reflects the importance of this meeting and our shared commitment to more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable cities for future generations. The World Urban Forum is more than a conference. It is a key platform for advancing global urban policy, strengthening partnerships, and supporting the implementation of the new urban agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. WUF13 takes place at a defining moment for the international community, when cities stand at the center of the climate change, housing affordability, migration, infrastructure resilience, and social cohesion. This is why WUF13 matters. This year's forum marks a historic milestone. For the first time at the World Urban Forum and at the initiative of the Republic of Azerbaijan, a dedicated leaders' session at the level of heads of state and government has been convened. For Azerbaijan, hosting WUF13 is both a great honor and a profound responsibility. It reflects our commitment to sustainable urban development, to the reconstruction and revitalization of our cities and communities, and to strengthening international cooperation through dialogue and partnerships. Today's leaders' session offers a unique opportunity to shape a common vision for the future of cities and to reinforce global commitment to the implementation of the new urban agenda. We thank you for your presence and wish us all a productive and inspiring session. Now, please allow me to proceed with the program for this session. I would like to invite Their Excellencies, Heads of State and Government to deliver their statements. And I have the honor to invite His Excellency Shavkat Mirziyoyev, President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Hurmatli delegatsiya rahbarlari, xonimlar va janoblar. Barchangizni Butunjahon Urbanizatsiya forumining 13-sessiyasida global taraqqiyotning eng dolzarb masalalari muhokama qilinayotgan nufuzli muloqot maydonida ko'rib turganimdan behad mamnunman. Bugungi anjuman kasbiy durdonasi bo'lmuş go'zal Bakuda yuqori darajada tashkil etilgani va bizga ko'rsatilayotgan samimiy mehmondo'stlik uchun Ozarbayjon Respublikasi Prezidenti Ilhom Geydarovich Aliyevga chuqur minnatdorlik bildiraman. Butun Ozarbayjon diyorida, ayniqsa Qorabog' zaminida ulkan bunyodkorlik ishlari jadal olib borilmoqda. Ozod qilingan hududlarda qisqa muddatlarda butun boshli shaharlar qayta tiklanib, yangi turar joylar majmualari, zamonaviy infratuzilma obyektlari barpo etilyapti. Fursatdan foydalanib, ana shunday oliyjanob ishlarga munosib hissa qo'shishga O'zbekiston doim tayyor ekanini ta'kidlamoqchiman. Hurmatli forum ishtirokchilari, kun tartibiga qo'yilgan barcha uchun uy-joy, xavfsiz va barqaror shaharlar hamda hamjamiyatlar masalasi bugun har qachongidan ham dolzarb ahamiyat kasb etmoqda. Tahlillarga ko'ra 21-asr o'rtalariga borib, sayyoramiz aholisining qariyb 70% shaharlarda istiqomat qiladi. Ayni paytda urbanizatsiya jarayoni o'zi bilan birga qator ijtimoiy muammolarni ham kuchaytirib bormoqda. Bugun dunyoda qariyb 3 milliard inson birlamchi yashash sharoitlaridan mahrum. Ularning 1 milliarddan ziyodi norasmiy turar joylar va xarobalarda kun kechirmoqda. 300 milliondan ortiq odam esa umuman boshpanaga ega emas. Iqlim o'zgarishlari, tahlikali xalqaro vaziyat va iqtisodiy inqirozlar global migratsiyaning yangi to'lqinlarini paydo qilib, davlatlar va shaharlar o'rtasida aholining qayta taqsimlanishiga olib kelmoqda. Oddiy qilib aytganda, urbanizatsiya jarayonlari global barqarorlik va xavfsizlikka to'g'ridan to'g'ri ta'sir ko'rsatuvchi jiddiy omilga aylanmoqda. Bularning barchasi hammamizdan qat'iy va kechikib bo'lmaydigan choralarni ko'rish talab qilmoqda. Aziz do'stlar, shaharlarni barqaror rivojlantirish masalasi yangi O'zbekiston uchun ham strategik ahamiyatga ega. Yaqin 15 yil ichida mamlakatimiz aholisi 38 milliondan 50 million nafarga, urbanizatsiya darajasi esa 51%dan 65%ga yetishi kutilmoqda. Biz buni hududlarimizning mutanosib rivojlantirish va iqtisodiy o'sishning ta'minlash uchun noyob imkoniyat deb hisoblaymiz. Shu maqsadda O'zbekistonda oxirgi 10 yilda qurilayotgan uy-joylarning yillik soni 10 baravarga oshib, 2025-yilda 238 mingta xonadonga yetdi. 2030-yilda ushbu raqamni yanada 1,5 baravarga oshiramiz. Aholini arzon uy-joylar bilan ta'minlash dasturiga har yili byudjetdan qariyb 2 milliard dollar mablag' ajratilmoqda. Norasmiy turar joylar muammosini hal qilish uchun 2024-yilda alohida qonun qabul qilinib, 100 mingga yaqin uyga hujjat rasmiylashtirib berildi. Eskirgan uy-joylarni yangilash maqsadida renovatsiya hisobiga qurilayotgan xonadonlar ulushini 15%dan 60%ga yetkazishni reja qilib olindi. Ushbu jarayonlar samarali boshqarish maqsadida urbanizatsiya milliy qo'mitasi tashkil etildi. Bundan tashqari, yashil makon, toza havo dasturlari doirasida shaharlarda yashillik darajasi 2030-yilgacha 30%ga yetkazish marrasini olganmiz. Shaharlarni obodonlashtirish va aholi turmush tarzini yaxshilashda fuqarolarning o'zini o'zi boshqarish an'anaviy tuzilmasi mahalla institutiga keng tayanamiz. Xonimlar va janoblar, 2 million aholiga mo'ljallangan yangi Toshkent mega loyihasi biz amalga oshirayotgan urbanizatsiya strategiyasining yaqqol namunasidir. Ushbu loyihada zamonaviy shaharsozlikning eng ilg'or yechimlari, yashil, aqlli, xavfsiz 15 daqiqali shahar tamoyillari to'liq hisobga olingan. Birinchi bosqichning o'zida bu yerda qiymati 25 milliard dollardan ortiq investitsiya loyihalarini boshladik. Loyiha konsepsiyasi taqdimoti forum doirasida tashkil etilgan Urban Expo ko'rgazmasida namoyish etilmoqda. Eng muhim, bu kabi loyihalar nafaqat poytaxtda, balki yangi O'zbekiston massivlari nomi ostida mamlakatimizning barcha hududlarida barpo etilmoqda. Hozirgacha 61 ta ana shunday massiv bunyod etildi. 2030-yilga borib esa ularning soni 100 taga yetadi. Shu o'rinda urbanizatsiya va shaharsozlik sohasidagi ishlarimizga bizga yaqin ko'makdosh bo'lib kelayotgan BMTning aholi punktlari bo'yicha dasturi ijrosi direktori Anna Claudia Rosbach xonimga hamda Jahon banki, Osiyo taraqqiyot banki va boshqa yetakchi moliya institutlariga o'z tashakkurimizni izhor etamiz. Hurmatli forum ishtirokchilari, bugungi muhokama qilinayotgan masalalar yuzasidan bir qator taklif va tashabbuslarni ilgari surmoqchiman. Birinchidan, barcha hududlarda aholi uchun teng yashash sharoitlarini yaratish, kichik va o'rta shaharlarning uyg'un rivojlantirishning talab qilmoqda. Shu sababli xalqaro hamkor davlatlarni shaharlarni rivojlantirishda mutanosib urbanizatsiya tamoyilini keng joriy etishni chaqiraman. Ikkinchidan, shahar boshqaruvida sun'iy intellekt va raqamli transformatsiya imkoniyatlaridan barcha davlatlar teng foyda olishlari zarur. Ushbu sohada texnologiya, standartlar va tajribalarni tizimli ommalashtirish qaratilgan xalqaro aqlli va xavfsiz shaharlar alyansini tuzishni taklif qilaman. Uchinchidan, yoshlar va aholining ehtiyojmand qatlamlarini sifatli hamda arzon uy-joylar bilan ta'minlash juda muhim. Shu maqsadda kelgusi yil Samarqand shahrida uy-joy qurilishga moliyaviy va investitsiyalarni jalb etishdagi yangi yondashuvlar yuzasidan xalqaro forum o'tkazishga tayyormiz. To'rtinchidan, global iqlim o'zgarishlarini inobatga olgan holda yashil shaharlarni barpo etishning umumiy tamoyillari va standartlarini qabul qilish dastlab ahamiyat kasb etmoqda. shaharlarning tabiat bilan uyg'un rivojlanishini rag'batlantirish maqsadida BMT Tabitatning Yashil shahar xalqaro mukofotini ta'sis etishni taklif qilaman. 5-dan, urbanizatsiya darajasining o'sishi shaharlardagi o'z-o'zini boshqarishning an'anaviy tuzilmalarini rolini yanada oshirmoqda. Shu munosabat bilan Jahon urbanizatsiya forumining 15-sessiyasining 2030-yilda yangi Toshkent shahrida o'tkazishni va uni bosh mavzusining shaharlarning barqaror rivojlantirishida mahalla institutining o'rni deb nom berishni taklif etaman. Hurmatli anjuman ishtirokchilari, bugungi tadbir o'zaro manfaatli va istiqbolli masalalar yuzasidan birgalikda yechimlarni topishga, yangi tashabbuslarni yo'l ochishga va soha rivojiga salmoqli hissa qo'shishga ishonaman. So'zimning yakunida forum ishiga ulkan muvaffaqiyatlar tilayman. E'tiborlaringiz uchun rahmat.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency, floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, in 2002, there was the first World Urban Forum held in Nairobi, Kenya. Last month, we held Africa Urban Forum again in Nairobi, Kenya. Today, we have come for the 13th World Urban Forum here in Baku, in this great country, and I want to thank His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev for his welcome and his hospitality extended to us. Excellencies, this is a most consequential forum because of the exigencies of housing in almost every country. Statistics show us that 3 billion people suffer from inadequate housing. 1 billion people live in slums, and 300 million people are homeless. These are not cold statistics. These are not numbers. These are people. These are families. These are children. And that is why this meeting in this great city with a great history is important. Article 25 of the Declaration of Universal Human Rights affirms that housing is a right. And today, as we are in Baku, we have a serious housing challenge globally, and the right under Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is breached. Let me take this opportunity to give you Kenya's perspective. We have 1,100 informal settlements. We have 7 million people living in these informal settlements. And as a result, we took the decision that it was not tenable, it was not right for us to continue in this trajectory. And therefore, we took the housing program as a central pillar of our development program. And what did we do? 3 things. Number 1, the biggest constraint to housing was availability of land. Number 2, the challenge was cost of construction. And number 3, it was financing housing. How did we solve this problem? Number 1, we made it mandatory that all public land be available for housing without charge, free of charge. That removed 30% of the cost of housing. Number 2, we decided that we are going to reduce the cost of construction. How did we do it? 2 things. Number 1, we negotiated with professionals, architects, quantity surveyors, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and all the professionals in that space. Because they were building 10, 20 houses a year, we offered them to build 3,000, 4,000 houses a year. They reduced their cost of supervision and cost, professional cost, from 10% of the cost to 2.5% of the cost. Number 2, we also standardized construction sizes, and we standardized construction materials. Doors became the same size, windows became the same size, and all the other construction materials, and therefore it became possible to produce these construction items en masse, and therefore reduce the cost. And number 3, how did we deal with financing? We decided to take one dedicated financing mechanism. We passed the law, established a housing fund, charged a housing levy, and today we have a dedicated funding mechanism financed by locally mobilized resources to build houses. What is the outcome? I will tell you what the outcome is in Kenya. In the last 3 years, we are building 273,000 housing units. 8,000 keys have been handed over. 55,000 keys will be handed over before the end of this year. And we have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units. I can say with confidence that today in Kenya, we have the largest housing program in the continent of Africa. Let me also say the following. We have mobilized, because of our housing fund, we have mobilized $5 billion from local or domestic resources. We haven't borrowed a single shilling from the World Bank. We haven't borrowed a single shilling from any other institution. This is locally developed resources. We have, as a result, employed 640,000 young people, architects, quantity surveyors, masons, carpenters, electricians, and all the other professionals. And we are on the way to hiring 1 million young people in the short term. And number 3, we have begun the journey of reversing slum growth. In fact, in the city of Nairobi, we have started to remove slums, to replace them with decent housing. And number 5, we have reduced land fragmentation. We now have more land to do agriculture because we are consolidating settlements in proper organized cities. I am giving the Kenyan perspective because I had my sister Sarah from my neighbor country in Uganda, and she made a very fundamental statement. She was just wondering how it is possible for a person in a slum to be able to live in a skyscraper on the 11th floor. Let me tell Sarah, it is possible. We have done it in Kenya. The cost of a social house on the 11th floor is the same as the cost of a slum dwelling house. They used to pay $40. They now pay $40 on the 11th floor because we have set up the mechanism for that to happen. Finally, let me speak to two paradoxes. As I stand here, 25% of the world's population will be living in the African continent by 2050. If there is a place that housing is important and urgent, it is in our continent. Why? Because that is where the world population, a quarter of the world population, will be living. And 70% of that population will be living in urban centers. And therefore, housing becomes a central pillar of how the world will look like in the future. And that is why it is important for this meeting to focus on two items. We have a serious paradox. A continent that has huge resources, that will have the world's largest population, 25% of the world's population by 2050, today cannot access concessional funding to drive its development. Much more important, housing, because today African countries and emerging economies pay 2, 3, 4 times more to access development financing because of elements of risk. We need to correct this paradox, and that is why we have said there is urgent need to reform the international financial architecture so that it is aligned to the needs, the requirements, and the imperatives of the current world. Most of our countries did not exist in 1945 when the Bretton Woods institutions were established. Today, we do not have enough voice, we do not have enough access, and even the paradox is that the countries who need concessional funding the most pay more than the countries who don't need it when they go to the market. That has to be corrected. And that is why we are of the firm position as African countries that we need the reform of the international financial architecture so that it represents the exigencies of the present. And finally, we need to correct another paradox, that 1.5 billion people in the African continent, the largest body of membership of the United Nations, 55 countries from Africa, are not represented at the highest decision-making organ of the United Nations Security Council. And the bigger paradox is that 60% of the agenda of the United Nations Security Council are African issues. What a paradox, that your issues are being discussed on a table that you are not represented. And that is why we are saying, for the survival of the United Nations, there must be reform that corrects this anomaly that brings justice so that the United Nations and the United Nations Security Council specifically becomes representative, democratic, and brings on board the views of the African continent. That is how we are going to solve the problems of the present and figure out how we are going to have a better future. In Baku, we have the opportunity to influence and to change the cities of the future and make them livable, sustainable, and good for everybody. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency Aleksandar Vučić, President of the Republic of Serbia. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank you all, particularly to you, Azerbaijanis people, for great hospitality, for one more beautiful reception here in Baku, and unforgettable event you have organized once again. And many thanks to President Aliyev, my dear friend, because I'll tell you something a bit differently. Whenever I come to Baku, whenever I come to Azerbaijan, and it happens at least once a year, I see big changes. I see a lot of progress that you Azerbaijani people and President Aliyev did together for the sake of your people and for the sake of your country. And it's always easier to be seen by someone who comes from abroad, by foreigners, because you're much easier adjustable and adaptable to the changes you're facing with. But we can see how big progress your country has been made in the recent years. And that's because I'll tell you a very simple explanation. That is because of your diligence and dedication, but apart from that, it's about something that Ilham Aliyev has more than most of us, or more than all of us. It's a passion, it's an ardency for his people and for his country. That's why he is doing such a terrific progress. That's why Baku look like the very best places in today's world. I very much admire him, very much admire you, dear friends, and trying to do something, cannot say similar, but to a certain extent, yes, in my country, in Serbia. I would like to congratulate to Azerbaijan for its outstanding efforts in hosting the 13th World Urban Forum and to commend their important and innovative initiative to organize for the first time a summit on the sidelines of this event. Retaining such a format as a regular feature in the future iterations would, in my view, be of great significance for leveraging the full potential of World Urban Forum. We are gathered here in breathtaking and inspiring Azerbaijan on the shores of the Caspian Sea to discuss the challenges and immense opportunities of urbanization. This 13th World Urban Forum, with a central theme, Housing the World, Safe and Resilient Cities and Communities, has brought together politicians, mayors, officials in local authorities, business persons, academics, and NGOs. With thousands of attendees here in Baku, the interest of the global community for the future of cities and the challenges they face is evident and clear. In Baku, we see a city that reflects tradition, resilience, and innovation. Its blend of history and innovative development gives testament to what is possible when sustainable urban planning and inclusive governance are prioritized. It is well known that over half of global humanity lives in cities, and this percentage is expected to grow in the future. Cities, towns, and settlements are exponentially the center of economic growth, production, innovation, education and learning, digitalization, and artificial intelligence. Without cities and urban space, life on our shrinking planet would be unimaginable. At the same time, cities are the epitome of global ills in a most concentrated manner and host a myriad of problems that plague today's civilization. Cities are confronted more often than not with problems of overcrowding, inadequate and expensive housing, uncontrolled pollution, the devastating effects of climate change, transport congestion, and unmanageable waste collection. In addition, problems like crime, corruption, and sex trafficking are centered in cities and much less in rural areas. In approaching the challenges that cities face, I propose that we focus on issues of sustainability, inclusivity, and innovation. In the era of unrelenting climate change, it is imperative to invest in decarbonization, adaptation to climate change, a transition to renewable energy, and nature-based solutions. Many global cities face serious problems of pollution that inflict major health problems. Having more and more green spaces is essential. Urban space must be accessible to all. Marginalized communities need to be including and not left behind. Approximately 1.1 billion people worldwide live in slums or informal settlements, accounting for about 1/4 of the global urban population. They do not have access to adequate drinking water or sanitation. In the 21st century, this state of affairs is unacceptable and must be reversed through collective efforts. Technology, digitization, and AI can be key in the future development of cities. It is evident that smart cities are the future and that problems of overcrowding, transport congestion, parking and waste could be solved through AI-driven solutions. Of course, the challenges of AI must be carefully considered because the transition to artificial intelligence may cause problems of workers losing employment and becoming redundant. In Serbia's capital, Belgrade, free public transport has been introduced, and we are looking forward to expanding the use of electric buses to further reduce air pollution. We are, of course, looking forward to working with our friends from Azerbaijan on constructing, in the near future, a gas-powered electricity power facility near the southern Serbian city of Niš. With 2 state-of-the-art supercomputers at the state data center in Kragujevac and the 3rd coming soon, Serbia needs to increase its electricity output through renewable energy, both wind and solar, as well as nuclear, but in the meantime, reliance on gas from Azerbaijan as well will be crucial. Likewise, we have recently adopted a law enabling millions of persons who were living in unregistered housing to legalize their properties, so that every citizen now knows that they are the rightful owner of their home or apartment. Cities are the natural environment for fostering creativity, innovation, and diverse talents of young people, while encouraging the development of new ideas and solutions aimed at improving everyday life of communities. As the host of the Specialized Exhibition Expo in 2027, with the theme Play for Humanity, Belgrade will provide an exceptional platform for more than 140 countries of the world to present to the world their creative and innovative solutions through music and sports. At the same time, we are proud of the fact that Expo 2027 in Belgrade will provide an opportunity to showcase concrete innovative solutions that can help ease urban traffic congestion, advance sustainable mobility, and improve the quality of life of citizens, including new generations of electric aircraft and smart transport systems. I look, dear friends, forward to seeing you at Expo 2027 in Belgrade, and once again, many thanks for your beautiful reception and great hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency Sadir Japarov, President of the Kyrgyz Republic. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Урматтуу мамлекет башчылары, урматтуу айымдар жана мырзалар, урматтуу дүйнөлүк шаарлар форумунун катышуучулары, эң алгач Азербайжан Республикасынын президенти урматтуу Илхам Гейдарович Алиевке жана боордош Азербайжан элине жылуу меймандостук жана бул маанилүү иш-чараны мыкты деңгээлде уюштургандыгы үчүн терең ыраазычылык билдиремин. Бардыгы үчүн турак жай, коопсуз жана туруктуу шаарлар жана коомчулуктар темасына арналган бүгүнкү форум урбанизация, туруктуу өнүгүү, климаттын өзгөрүшү жана турак жайдын жеткиликтүүлүгү маселелерин талкуулоо үчүн уникалдуу аянтчаны түзөт. Урматтуу форумдун катышуучулары, Кыргыз Республикасы тоолуу өлкө катары тоолуу аймактарды туруктуу өнүктүрүүгө артыкчылыктуу маани беребиз. Бириккен Улуттар уюмунун азык-түлүк жана айыл чарба уюмунун маалыматы боюнча тоолор дүйнөдөгү 1,1 миллиард тоолуу элдердин жашоо турмушун жана жыргалчылыгын түздөн түз камсыздап тим гана болбостон, тоо этектеринде жашаган миллиарддаган адамдарга дагы кыйыр түрдө пайдасын тийгизип турат. Тилекке каршы учурда мөңгүлөрдүн эриши, климаттын өзгөрүшү, калктын миграциясы жана экосистемаларга болгон кысым бийик тоолуу жана тоо этектериндеги аймактарда жайгашкан шаарларга терс таасирин тийгизүүдө. Чакан, бирок тарыхы бай жана уникалдуу маданий өзгөчөлүктөрү бар бул шаарлар бир катар кыйынчылыктарга туш болууда. Тоолуу шаарлардын туруктуу өнүгүшүн камсыз кылуу максатында төмөнкү 3 багытка сиздердин көңүлүңүздөрдү бургум келет. Биринчи, экосистеманын туруктуулугун камсыздоо. Биз тоо экосистемаларынын сезимталдыгын эске алган, интеграцияланган шаардык башкаруу стратегияларын иштеп чыгууну жактайбыз. Тактап айтканда, мөңгүлөрдүн эришинин азайышына ыңгайлашуу жана сууну үнөмдөөчү технологияларды ишке ашыруу өтө маанилүү. Мындан тышкары калдыктарды чогултуу, кайра иштетүү жана жок кылуу системаларын иштеп чыгуу жана ишке ашыруу, ошондой эле табигый ландшафттардын булганышынын алдын алуу өтө зарыл. Ошондой эле жергиликтүү экологиялык жактан таза материалдарды, энергияны үнөмдөөчү технологияларды жана тоо шарттарына ылайыкташтырылган сейсмикалык долбоорлорду актуалдуу деп эсептейбиз. Экинчи багыт — тоо урбанистикасы үчүн инновациялар. Бул тоолуу аймактардын өзгөчөлүктөрүнө ылайыкташтырылган акылдуу технологияларды иштеп чыгууга, анын ичинде муниципалдык кызматтарды, транспортты жана энергия менен камсыздоону санариптештирүүгө тиешелүү. Кыргыз Республикасынын тажрыйбасын мисал катары колдонуп, биз тоолуу аймактарда энергетикалык көз карандысыздыкты камсыз кылуу жана эмиссияны азайтуу үчүн суу жана күн энергиясынын потенциалын максималдуу түрдө пайдалануу зарыл деп эсептейбиз. Албетте, табигый кырсыктарга туруктуу транспорт тармактарын түзүү жана эрте эскертүү системаларын иштеп чыгуу маанилүү. Үчүнчү багыт — адам капиталы жана маданий мурас. Тоолуу шаарлар бул жөн гана жаратылыш эмес, бул эң алгач адамдар. Ошондуктан биз жарандарыбыз жана меймандарыбыз үчүн ыңгайлуу жашоо жана иштөө шарттарын түзүүгө, анын ичинде билим берүү жана социалдык инфратүзүмдү, туристтик маршруттарды жана жайларды өнүктүрүүгө, ошондой эле санариптик көчмөндөр идеясын колдоого умтулабыз. Тоолуу шаарларды өнүктүрүүнүн өзгөчө актуалдуулугун, ошондой эле бул жааттагы тажрыйбабызды жана билимибизди эске алуу менен эл аралык тоолуу шаарлар ассоциациясын түзүүнү карап чыгууну сунуштайбыз. Ассоциация тоолору шаарларды туруктуу өнүктүрүүгө багытталган мыкты тажрыйбалар жана биргелешкен изилдөө долбоорлору менен алмашуу платформасына айланат деп үмүттөнөбүз. Өз кезегибизде биз ассоциациянын башкы кеңсесин Бишкек шаарында жайгаштырууга даярбыз. Урматтуу форумдун катышуучулары, жеткиликтүү, коопсуз жана жогорку сапаттагы турак жай менен камсыз кылуу заманбап дүйнөнүн негизги көйгөйлөрүнүн бири. Биздин өлкөлөрдөгү тез урбанизациянын шартында жарандарыбыз үчүн татыктуу жашоо шарттарын түзүү боюнча негизги жүк шаарларга жүктөлүүдө. Бүгүнкү күндө шаарлар экономикалык өнүгүүнүн, инновациялардын жана адам капиталынын борборлоруна айланууда. Ошол эле учурда шаарлар климаттын өзгөрүшүнүн кесепеттерине,
инфраструктурага басымдын күчөшүнө, турак жай көйгөйлөрүнө жана коомдук коопсуздук маселелерине биринчилерден болуп туш болушат. Ошондуктан турак жай курулушун өнүктүрүү Кыргыз Республикасынын мамлекеттик саясатынын артыкчылыктуу багыты болуп саналат. Муну 2025 жылы эле Кыргызстанда 1,8 миллион чарчы метрден ашык турак жай пайдаланууга берилгени жана бул тармакка инвестициянын көлөмү дээрлик 2 миллиарддан ашык акча салынганы көрсөтүп турат. Ипотекалык механизмдерди өнүктүрүүгө өзгөчө көңүл буруудабыз. 2021 жылдан бери мамлекеттик ипотека саясатынын алкагында 9.000ден ашык үй бүлө турак жай менен камсыз болду. Андан тышкары бир эле 2025 жылдын ичинде 4600ден ашык үй бүлө жаңы батирлердин ачкычтарын алышты. Учурда өлкө боюнча 70.000ден ашык батир курулуп жатат. Жылдын аягына чейин 20.000 үй бүлө ачкычтарын алышат. Бул турак жайдын жеткиликтүүлүгүн мындан ары кеңейтүү үчүн олуттуу негиз түзөт. Урматтуу форумдун катышуучулары, Кыргыз Республикасынын борбору Бишкек шаары шаардык башкаруу реформаларын ишке ашырууда олуттуу тажрыйбага ээ. Учурда шаардык инфраструктура модернизацияланып, коомдук транспорт жаңыртылып, шаарды башкарууда санариптик чечимдер ийгиликтүү ишке ашырылууда. Айлана чөйрөнү жашылдандырууга жана энергияны үнөмдөөнү өнүктүрүүгө өзгөчө көңүл буруудабыз. Өткөн жылдын аягында Бишкек шаарында таштандыларды кайра иштетүүчү Борбор Азиядагы эң биринчи заводдун ачылышы өттү. Завод жылына 365.000 тоннага чейин таштандыны кайра иштетүү аркылуу 300 мегаваттка чейин, кечиресиздер, 30 мегаваттка чейин электр энергиясын өндүрүп чыгып жатат бүгүнкү күндө. Салыштырып айта кетсем, бул кубаттуулуктагы электр энергиянын өндүрүү үчүн буга чейин жылына болжол менен 80.000 тонна көмүр коротулуп, 100.000 тонна көмүр кычкыл газы бөлүнүп чыкчу. Мындай ишканалардын өлкөбүздүн Каракол жана Ош шаарларында курулушу улантылууда. Форумдун катышуучуларынын биздин көргөзмө павильонубузда бул долбоор менен кененирээк таанышып кетүүңүздөргө чакырамын. Мындан тышкары, өткөн жылдын июнь айында Бириккен Улуттар уюмунун айлана чөйрөнү коргоо программасынын колдоосу менен Бишкекте 1000 жашыл дубал пилоттук программасы ишке киргизилген. Долбоор шаарды жашылдандыруу иштерин кеңейтүүгө жана туруктуу экологиялык чечимдерди иштеп чыгууга багытталган. Урматтуу форумдун катышуучулары, сөзүмдүн аягында Кыргыз Республикасы өз тажрыйба менен бөлүшүүгө жана башкалардан үйрөнүүгө даяр экенин баса белгилеп кетким келет. Бүгүнкү форумдун жыйынтыктары шаар чөйрөсүн өнүктүрүүнүн багытын аныктай турган жана өлкөлөрүбүздүн туруктуу гүлдөп өнүгүшүн камсыз кыла турган алдыңкы чечимдерди иштеп чыгуу үчүн бекем пайдубал болот деп үмүттөнөмүн. Биз келечек муундар үчүн биргелешкен аракеттер менен гана адамдар, жаратылыш жана прогресс гармонияда жашаган туруктуу, инклюзивдүү жана ыңгайлуу шаарларды кура алабыз деп эсептеймин. Саммиттин ишине ийгилик каалап, көңүл бурганыңыздар үчүн рахмат айтып кетемин. Рахмат.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite Her Excellency Iliana Yotova, President of the Republic of Bulgaria. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Mesdames et Messieurs, Excellences, permettez-moi de commencer par adresser mes sincères remerciements au président Aliyev, à nos hôtes de la République d'Azerbaïdjan pour avoir fait de Baku un lieu où le monde parle de son avenir. Le thème qui nous réunit ici, loger le monde, est un thème dont dépendent en réalité tous les autres. Derrière le thème de ce forum, il y a des êtres humains et non de simples statistiques. Près de 2,8 milliards de personnes dans le monde vivent sans logement, répondant aux exercices et aux exigences de la dignité humaine. Plus d'1 milliard vivent dans des quartiers informels. Et pour répondre aux besoins d'ici la fin de cette décennie seulement, le monde devrait construire concrètement un logement chaque seconde. Chaque seconde pendant laquelle je prononce ces mots, quelque part dans le monde, une famille attend son foyer. L'accès au logement n'est pas seulement une question du marché, c'est une question de justice. Le logement n'est pas une marchandise, il est le commencement de tout le reste. Sans lui, il n'y a ni emploi stable, ni école pour les enfants, ni accès aux soins, ni citoyens se sentent pleinement membres de leur communauté. Lorsqu'une ville perd la capacité d'abriter ses habitants, elle ne perd pas seulement des bâtiments, elle perd son sens de même. C'est pourquoi je suis profondément convaincue que la ville la plus moderne n'est pas celle qui possède le plus de technologie. La ville la plus moderne est celle dans laquelle aucun être humain ne se sent pas abandonné. Excellence, nous devons reconnaître une réalité que la science contemporaine a compris depuis longtemps, mais que la politique n'a pas encore pleinement acceptée. La ville, dans son sens classique, n'existe plus. Aujourd'hui, nous parlons de méga-régions polycentriques, d'immenses tissus urbanisés où les frontières entre les villes s'estompent progressivement, tandis que les économies, les infrastructures, les corridors de transport et les marchés du travail se fondent à une échelle qui transforme la notion même de la ville. Ce n'est pas une théorie de l'avenir, c'est déjà la carte du présent visible de l'Asie à l'Amérique du Nord et en Europe. Nous pouvons nier cette réalité et continuer à gouverner les méga-régions avec des instruments conçus pour les petites villes industrielles d'il y a 5 ans, puis nous étonner qu'ils ne fonctionnent plus. Ou bien, nous pouvons accepter cette réalité et bâtir une gouvernance à la mesure du monde contemporain, connectée, multiniveau et partagée. Une gouvernance fondée sur le principe objectif commun, rôle différencié entre les gouvernements nationaux, les régions, les villes et les communautés. Je crois dans cette seconde voie. Et tandis que les villes continuent de croître, de nouvelles vagues de population se dirigent vers elles. Nous vivons dans une époque, malheureusement, de guerre. Et cet instant, même alors que nous sommes réunis ici, des conflits à travers le monde chassent des millions de personnes de leur foyer. Plus de 60% d'entre elles cherchent refuge précisément dans les villes, car la ville est le premier lieu où l'être humain en fuite cherche à retrouver la sécurité, un emploi, une école pour son enfant, un fragment de la vie normale. Pendant trop longtemps, le monde a parlé des migrations principalement comme d'une menace. Changeons le sens de cette conversation. Ce n'est pas une menace, c'est une réalité à laquelle nous devons nous préparer. Une ville préparée transforme celui qui arrive en citoyen, en salarié, en voisin. Une ville non préparée le pousse vers la périphérie, vers l'informalité, l'invisibilité, l'exclusion. La différence entre les deux relève d'un choix que nous, responsables politiques, faisons ou refusons de faire. Et au-delà des guerres, il existe une réalité encore plus vaste. Depuis des années, le changement climatique déplace non seulement des individus, mais des régions entières en raison des sécheresses, du manque d'eau, de la montée des mers et de la terre qui ne peuvent plus nourrir ceux qui les cultivent depuis des générations. Les scientifiques nous avertissent que si la trajectoire actuelle se poursuit, des continents entiers verront leur population se lever et partir à la recherche du droit le plus simple et le plus sacré, le droit de la vie. Pour des millions de personnes à travers le monde, le logement est déjà devenu la première ligne de la lutte contre le changement climatique. La résilience urbaine n'est pas un luxe écologique. Une ville qui n'est pas préparée au bouleversement climatique risque de déstabiliser des régions entières. En Bulgarie, nous connaissons bien ces processus. Nous sommes un État membre de l'Union européenne situé au croisement des grands corridors de connectivité. Mais notre pays, comme une grande partie de l'Europe, est confronté au vieillissement de la population, aux migrations internes, au dépouillement de certaines régions et aux inégalités croissantes entre les grands centres urbains et les petites villes. Nous savons ce que signifie voir une ville se développer tandis qu'une autre, toute proche, s'éteint lentement. Nous savons ce que cela signifie lorsque de jeunes familles ne peuvent plus se permettre un logement et lorsque des générations entières perdent leur horizon d'espérance. Ces réalités nous placent face aux mêmes défis, quelle que soit la région du monde d'où nous venons. Et lorsque les problèmes sont communs, les solutions doivent être également. Le monde doit partager librement ses connaissances et ses avancées au lieu de garder jalousement pour lui-même, car notre avenir et nos foyers sont communs. Nos investissements doivent être orientés vers les personnes et non vers les infrastructures pour elles-mêmes. La technologie doit servir d'être humain et non le remplacer. L'intelligence artificielle, les systèmes numériques et les villes intelligentes n'auront de véritable valeur que s'ils sont au service de l'humanité, s'ils réduisent les inégalités et rendent la vie plus accessible, plus sûre et plus digne. Et surtout, la politique du logement ne doit pas rester une simple politique sectorielle. Elle doit devenir une politique pour l'avenir même de nos sociétés. Car au fond, nous avons besoin de villes qui ne divisent pas les êtres humains selon leurs revenus, leur génération ou leur origine. Des villes qui offrent des chances, des villes qui créent une communauté. Ce sont de mesurer le succès d'une ville au nombre de ses gratte-ciel, à sa silhouette ou à son produit brut. Commençons à le mesurer, allant de la capacité de cette ville à garantir que même la personne la plus vulnérable y ait un foyer, un accès et une voix. Cela signifie placer véritablement le logement au centre des politiques internationales, nationales et locales. Une ville ne devient pas grande parce qu'elle est immense. Elle devient véritablement grande lorsque personne n'y est considéré comme superflu. Mesdames et messieurs, aujourd'hui, les villes sont la géopolitique en action. La manière dont nous les construisons déterminera non seulement la qualité de nos vies, mais aussi la stabilité de nos sociétés, la résilience de nos États et la confiance dans nos systèmes politiques. L'avenir ne se mesurera pas seulement à la croissance économique, il se mesurera à notre capacité à créer des villes où des gens veulent vivre, fonder une famille, travailler et rêver. Ne quittons pas Baku avec une simple déclaration de plus. Quittons cette ville avec une détermination commune afin que l'appel à l'action de Baku soit retenu non pour ses mots, mais pour les foyers qui seront construits grâce à lui. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency Irakli Kabahidze, Prime Minister of Georgia. The floor is yours, Excellency.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to address this distinguished audience at the 13th World Urban Forum here in Baku. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Republic of Azerbaijan for its traditional warm hospitality and excellent arrangement of this important global gathering. This forum, organized by the United Nations Human Settlements Programme, serves as an essential platform to exchanging experiences and advancing a shared vision for safer and inclusive communities. Cities today stand at the center of nearly every major global challenge, from climate resilience and housing security to sustainable development and social cohesion. The way we plan, develop and protect our urban spaces will ultimately shape the stability, well-being and resilience of our societies for generations to come. In recent years, alongside Georgia's strong economic growth, balanced territorial development and modern urban planning have become key priorities of our national policy. Our objective is not only to expand infrastructure and improve quality of life, but to ensure that growth remains sustainable, regionally balanced, and centered around the needs of our citizens. With the support of our international partners, Georgia is advancing the national special development concept. This landmark document serves as the important foundation for housing and urban development, ensuring a harmonious integration of space that reflects our commitment to balanced and sustainable development across every region of our country. To ensure the effective implementation of these reforms, we have strengthened the institutional coordination through a specialized agency within the system of central government. This mechanism supports long-term planning and helps ensure that urban transformation is guided by strategic vision, continuity, and effective governance. At the same time, we recognize that resilient cities are not defined solely by physical infrastructure. They must also respond to social realities, demographic changes, and emerging environmental challenges. Modern urban resilience requires accessible public services, sustainable mobility, climate-conscious planning, and policies that improve the quality of life for every community. One of Georgia's most significant recent achievements has been the completion of the national cadastre and the full registration of land parcels throughout the country. This reform has strengthened legal certainty, improved land administration, and created a more transparent foundation for economic activity and territorial governance. In parallel, the privatization of residential units allocated during the Soviet period has now been finalized. With these units fully transferred into private ownership, we have established a definitive framework for urban stability and individual property rights. At the core of our urban and housing policies remains the well-being of our people. For decades, Georgia has continued to address the humanitarian consequences of war and occupation by providing housing and social support to internally displaced persons from the occupied territories of Georgia. We continue to develop new settlements and transfer housing units to affected families as part of our long-term commitment to dignified living conditions and social inclusion. Our policies also prioritize support for young families, eco-migrants, and residents of mountainous regions. Through targeted state programs and innovative financial mechanisms, we seek to improve housing accessibility and create equal opportunities for development across all regions of Georgia. A city is a vessel for nation's identity. Our initiatives are guided by a commitment to the preservation of traditional Georgian architectural heritage. We believe that modernization must not come at the cost of history. By integrating traditional architectural elements into contemporary urban planning, we are asserting our cultural security, building cities that honor our past while functioning for our future. At the same time, for us, reducing the rural-urban divide remains one of the key priorities of sustainable development policy. In close cooperation with the United Nations and international partners, the government is actively working to promote more balanced and inclusive development across all regions of the country. As we continue our transition toward an upper middle-income economy with stronger institutions and steady economic growth, the sustainable development of regions remains at the core of our national priorities. Particular emphasis is placed on ensuring that rural and mountainous communities benefit equally from modern infrastructure, quality public services, and new economic opportunities. Through inclusive and regionally balanced policies, we aim to strengthen local communities, reduce disparities between urban and rural areas, and create sustainable conditions for long-term development throughout the country. Georgia remains fully committed to the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the new urban agenda. We stand ready to further strengthen cooperation with our international partners in advancing safe, inclusive, and resilient human settlements for present and future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. And now I have the honor to invite His Excellency Olzhas Bektenev, Prime Minister of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to His Excellency President Ilham Aliyev and the government of the Republic of Azerbaijan for the outstanding organization of the World Urban Forum. Holding this event in Baku, a city that harmoniously combines rich historical heritage with a modern and sophisticated landscape, highlights the importance of the global sustainable urban development agenda and the growing role of our region in shaping it. For Kazakhstan, where more than 63% of the population currently lives in urban areas, ensuring comfortable living conditions and opportunities for decent employment, as emphasized by President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, remains one of the key priorities of state policy. That's why we are implementing a people-centered approach in which comfort, safety, accessibility, and environmental sustainability serve as the foundation for cities for citizens. This January, Kazakhstan adopted a new construction code with unified standards for architectural design, urban quality, and integrated urban planning. Moreover, urban development centers have been established across all regions of Kazakhstan. At the same time, we understand that sustainable urban development requires addressing challenges such as technology and AI, water security, climate change, resilience building, and other pressing issues to which we are taking consistent measures. Let me give some examples. First, technology. One of our most ambitious initiatives is the development of Alatau city in the Almaty region as a center of advanced urban growth. This modern urban cluster is designed to attract international investment, cutting-edge management technologies, and innovative solutions. Last year, Kazakhstan enacted the law on artificial intelligence, establishing a legal framework for the safe, transparent, and human-centered use of AI technologies. Today, more than 1,200 public services are available through Kazakhstan's digital e-government ecosystem. We have declared 2026 the year of digitalization and artificial intelligence to underscore our strategic focus on technological transformation and the development and management of modern cities. Kazakhstan stands ready to share its experience in AI and digitalization through international cooperation platforms, notably the newly established ESCAP Asia and Pacific Digital Solutions Center for Sustainable Development in Almaty. Second, water and ecology. The new constitution of Kazakhstan, recently adopted through a national referendum, elevates environmental protection to the level of a fundamental state value. Today, against the backdrop of climate change and growing scarcity, sustainable water management is becoming an integral component of resilient urban development. In this context, we are promoting the initiative of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, to establish an international water organization under the auspices of the United Nations. Last month, Astana hosted the Regional Ecological Summit to generate new momentum for practical cooperation among the Central Asian states on climate resilience, environmental sustainability, and water security. Third, resilience. Kazakhstan actively cooperates with UN Habitat and participates in national and international initiatives on sustainable and resilient urban development. Last year, we hosted the first National Urban Forum in Kızılorda, bringing together government institutions, international organizations, experts, and business representatives. In addition, under the global initiative Making Cities Resilient 2030, our capital Astana has been designated a resilience hub, the first such platform in Central Asia. At the same time, we look forward to the UN Regional Center for the SDGs for Central Asia and Afghanistan in Almaty beginning its work as a regional coordination and collaboration hub for advancing shared priorities. Distinguished participants, Kazakhstan remains committed to open dialogue and practical partnership in addressing global urban challenges. We are confident that only through collective action and shared responsibility can we build modern, sustainable, and resilient cities for future generations. In conclusion, I would once again like to express my sincere gratitude to the Fraternal Republic of Azerbaijan for hosting the World Urban Forum at such a high level and for its warm hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the privilege to invite His Majesty Mswati III, King of Eswatini, to deliver his statement. The floor is yours, Majesty.
Your Excellency Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, our host, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Executive Director of UN Habitat, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to join and address the 13th session of the World Urban Forum in this beautiful city of Baku under the important theme, housing the world safe and resilient cities and communities. This theme addresses one of the defining responsibilities of our time, ensuring that development uplifts human dignity and improves the quality of life for all people. Across the world, billions of people still face the harsh realities of inadequate housing, rapid urbanization, climate disasters, poverty, and strained infrastructure. These challenges transcend regions and levels of development. They affect both developed and developing nations. At their center is the human being. Therefore, housing is more than concrete and steel. It presents dignity, safety, stability, and hope. A home is the foundation for strong families and resilient communities. A truly resilient city is measured not by height of its skyscrapers, but by its ability to protect and empower its people, especially most vulnerable. In the Kingdom of Eswatini, we place people at the center of all development. We pursue sustainable urban growth that goes hand in hand with environmental stewardship, economic inclusion, and social cohesion. Our national priorities focuses on affordable housing, quality infrastructure, integrated spatial planning, and environmental sustainability for both urban and rural communities. In 2025, we launched Strategy 2030, a comprehensive framework aligned with the new urban agenda and the sustainable development goals. This strategy is expanding access to home ownership and significantly improving living conditions for all Emaswat. Our municipalities and housing institutions continue to deliver housing schemes for different segments of society, while partnerships with the private sector and development partners provide decent homes for vulnerable groups. These efforts reflect our commitment to inclusive and compassionate development. Your Excellencies, guiding our efforts is the Dingunda system of governance, which is our people-centered approach that promotes grassroots consultation, broad participation, and shared responsibility. This system ensures development priorities emerge from the communities themselves, and that no women, youth, the elderly, persons with disabilities or marginalized groups are left behind. We recognize that no nation can address urbanization, climate change, and housing insecurity alone. Eswatini welcomes the outcomes of the Africa Urban Forum, particularly the declarations from Addis Ababa in 2024 and Nairobi in 2026. We reaffirm our full support for UN Habitat and its leadership in implementing the new urban agenda in partnership with the African Union and UNECA. Your Excellencies, the scale of these challenges demand stronger cooperation and innovative partnerships across governments, the private sector, civil society, and communities. We must invest in renewable energy, green infrastructure, climate-resilient settlements, smart technologies, and sustainable construction methods, while ensuring we always keep people at the center. As we invest in new sources of power, we must find a balance between renewable energy and traditional sources of electricity to ensure sustainable development for our economies. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we deliberate during this forum, let us commit to practical solutions and renewed determination to build inclusive, resilient, safe, and sustainable cities and communities for all. Let us act not only for our generation, but for those who will inherit the decisions we make today. May wisdom guide our discussions, and may our collective efforts bring lasting progress, prosperity, and dignity to our people. In conclusion, let me express my profound appreciation to you, Mr. President, the government, and the people of Azerbaijan for the warm hospitality extended to me, the Ngoskati, and my entire delegation in this beautiful city of Baku. We are delighted to witness the impressive development and modernization taking place across your great nation. Baku truly symbolizes how a country can preserve its rich heritage while embracing innovation and progress. Siyabonga, I thank you. May Almighty God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Majesty. It is my pleasure to invite His Excellency Darambir Gokul, President of the Republic of Mauritius. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good afternoon, bon après-midi, and salam. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me start my address by thanking His Excellency President Aliyev, the Honorable Prime Minister, the government and people of the Republic of Azerbaijan for the kind invitation and the warm and cordial hospitality extended to me and to my delegation to this important forum. I would like to convey to the organizers and all participants the warm and friendly greetings of the government and the people of the Republic of Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme before us, housing the world, safe and resilient cities and communities, goes to the very heart of one of the most pressing challenges of our time. We meet at the midpoint review of the new urban agenda at a moment when nearly 3 billion people worldwide live in inadequate housing conditions. 1 billion live in slums and informal settlements, and 300 million lack any form of shelter. A formidable and unprecedented humanitarian challenge indeed. A challenge central to human dignity, social stability, and sustainable development. This forum is therefore not only very timely, but also very opportune for sharing experiences, knowledge, and best practices to advance the agenda for the future of sustainable urban planning and development. Across the globe, cities are expanding at an unprecedented pace. Yet this growth is too often unplanned, unequal, and environmentally unsustainable, resulting in a widening gap between opportunity and reality, between the promise of urban life and the lived experience of families. Housing is today more than shelter. It is a basic human need and human dignity. If we are to achieve a sustainable human development, housing and urban planning must be at the heart of public policy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mauritius, a small island developing state where land is scarce, sea level rise is real, environmental risks and the pressures of urbanization are increasingly visible. We fully support and are committed towards the realization of the goals of this forum because, for us, planning is not an option. It is essential. It is existential. To address this challenge, in November 2025, government approved a new national development strategy which provides a people-centric, comprehensive, sustainable spatial framework for development up to 2040, in line with the principles advocated by UN Habitat and the new urban agenda, to ensure the optimal use of limited resources while balancing economic growth, environmental sustainability, and social equity. A number of key measures have already been adopted and include expanding access to decent, safe, affordable, and ecological housing for low and middle income families, reserving a proportion of social housing units for persons with disabilities, single mothers, and the elderly, encouraging integrated communities through better alignment of housing, public services, transport connectivity, and economic opportunities. At the same time, we are modernizing land administration through digitization of land records to improve transparency, reduce disputes, prevent speculation, and promote more equitable access to land. Our national development strategy is therefore a guiding transition toward a more sustainable urban model, where one that promotes balanced territorial development, efficient land use, improved connectivity, and greater environmental stewardship and climate resilience. For Mauritius, climate change is not a distant threat. It is a daily reality. We are determined to build communities that are not only sustainable, but resilient by design. Here I would like to take this opportunity to commend the 10-year comprehensive urban transformational initiatives of the government and people of Azerbaijan, in particular the White City project, the master plan for the Agdam city project for Karabakh, and the implementation of the 2006 decree on ecological measures under the dedicated and inspirational leadership of President Aliyev. I have no doubt that these landmark initiatives will form an integral part of the reflections and discussions of the 13th WUF and will contribute meaningfully in enriching its conclusions and recommendations. Today, we can also leverage, as has been mentioned by previous speakers, intelligently and responsibly the huge potential of AI in reimagining and redirecting urban, eco-friendly and sustainable planning and development. Ladies and gentlemen, are we on the right track? We believe that we are making meaningful progress, but we must also be fully aware of the challenges that remain. Our collective experience so far, therefore, reinforces a simple but important lesson. Urban planning is not a one-time exercise and should not be so. It is a continuous process of adaptation, inclusion, and innovation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, small island states face unique constraints, limited land, high exposure to climate risk, and restricted financial and technical capacity. One-size-fits-all solutions will not suffice. We therefore call for stronger international support and solidarity. Global solidarity must translate into practical, targeted support. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the cities we build today will define the quality of life for future generations. We must continue to innovate, to plan carefully, and to act responsibly. Let us work together to ensure that our cities are not only engines of growth, but also the spaces of inclusion, sustainability, and human dignity. Mauritius stands ready to contribute to this collective effort. My best wishes for a productive and successful forum. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I now have the honor to welcome His Excellency Mohammed Yunus Al-Menfi, President of the Libyan Presidential Council. You have the floor, Excellency.
السلام عليكم. فخامة الرئيس إلهام علييف رئيس جمهورية أذربيجان، سعادة المدير التنفيذي لبرنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية، أصحاب الجلالة والفخامة والمعالي السيدات والسادة، بمناسبة لقائنا في هذا الحدث الأممي الهام نتوجه بخالص الشكر والتقدير إلى فخامة الرئيس إلهام حيدر علييف وإلى جمهورية أذربيجان الصديقة حكومة وشعبا على استضافة الدورة 13 للمنتدى الحضري العالمي في مدينة باكو. هذه المدينة التي تمثل نموذجا للتفاعل بين الأصالة والتحديث وبين التراث والرؤية المستقبلية للتنمية الحضرية. كما نعرب عن تقديرنا لبرنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية على هذه الجهود المتواصلة في تعزيز التعاون الدولي لمواجهة التحديات التي تواجهها التجمعات الحضرية، وعلى سعيه المستمر إلى تطوير المنصات والأدوات الحديثة، وفي مقدمتها نظام إدارة الفاعليات العالمي الذي يعكس توجهها مقدماً نحو تعزيز الشراكة الدولية وتسهيل التنسيق والتفاعل بين الحكومات والمؤسسات والخبراء في القضايا الحضرية والتنموية. السيدات والسادة، إن شعار هذا المنتدى لهذا العام إسكان العالم، مدن ومجتمعات آمنة وقادرة على الصمود، ليس مجرد عنوان لحدث دولي، بل هو دعوة عالمية لإعادة التفكير في مستقبل المدن وفي كيفية ضمان الحق الإنساني في السكن الآمن الكريم والمستدام. فالعالم يواجه اليوم تفاقماً لأزمة إسكان، مما يؤثر على مليارات البشر في ظل اتساع الفجوات الاجتماعية وتزايد آثار التغير المناخي وتسارع النمو الحضري وارتفاع معدلات الهجرة والنزوح. ومن هنا فإن السكن لم يعد قضية ضيقة، بل أصبح محوراً أساسياً للاستقرار والتنمية والأمن المجتمعي. وفي ليبيا ندرك تماماً أهمية بناء مدن أكثر قدرة على الصمود، أكثر شمولاً وعدالة، ونعمل على دعم سياسات التنمية الحضرية المتوازنة وتعزيز التخطيط العمراني المستدام وتحسين البنية التحتية والخدمات الأساسية، مع التركيز على تمكين السلطات المحلية ودعم جهود إعادة الإعمار وبناء مجتمعات حضرية تحافظ على الهوية الوطنية وتستجيب لمتطلبات التنمية الحديثة. كما نؤكد أن مواجهة التحديات الحضرية تتطلب تعزيز الشراكات الدولية ونقل المعرفة والتقنية وتوفير آليات تموين عادلة ومرونة للدول النامية، بما يضمن تنفيذ أهداف التنمية المستدامة والأجندة الحضرية الجديدة بصورة أكثر إنصافاً وفاعلية. وقد تواصلت جهود الإعمار في ليبيا هذه السنوات لتشهد تطوراً كبيراً في المشروعات الكبرى والبنية التحتية والإسكان في شرق البلاد وغربها وجنوبها، وخصوصاً في مدينة درنا بعد الفيضانات وفي مدن الغرب بعد الحروب نتيجة الاستقرار الذي تمر به البلاد الآن. السيدات والسادة، أن الاجتماعات والفعاليات الدولية التي ينظمها برنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية خلال عام 2026 سواء هنا في باكو أو في نيروبي أو في الصين، نؤكد فيه أهمية استمرار الحوار العالمي حول مستقبل المدن وجدوى تحويل التوصيات إلى سياسات عملية ومشروعات قابلة للتنفيذ تخدم الإنسان وتضعه في قلب العملية التنموية. ومن هذا المنبر تؤكد ليبيا دعمها الكامل لكل الجهود الدولية الرامية إلى بناء مدن آمنة ومستدامة قادرة على التكيف مع الأزمات والتغيرات المناخية والاقتصادية، بما يعزز الاستقرار الإقليمي والدولي ويحقق التنمية للأجيال القادمة. في ليبيا تشاهد التاريخ المعماري يتحدث منذ زمن الإغريق والرومان والإسلام مدن مثل قورينا، شحات ولبدا، والمدن القديمة في بنغازي وطرابلس، والتراث التاريخي المعماري في الصحراء في مدينة غدامس، واليوم ترى مباني حديثة متطورة. ختاماً، نجدد شكرنا لجمهورية أذربيجان ولبرنامج الأمم المتحدة للمستوطنات البشرية على تنظيم هذا المنتدى العالمي المهم، ونتطلع إلى تشكيل مخرجاته خطوة عملية نحو مستقبل حضري أكثر عدالة واستدامة وازدهارا للجميع، وأن يتم إعطاء أهمية قصوى لنقل المعرفة والتقنية ومشاركة التجارب في هذا المجال. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Excellency. I now have the privilege to invite His Excellency Zhang Guoxin, Vice Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
尊敬的阿里耶夫总统、罗斯巴赫执行主任、女士们、先生们、朋友们，很高兴作为中国国家主席习近平特别代表，出席第13届世界城市论坛领导人峰会。我荣幸地转达习近平主席对阿塞拜疆举办峰会的良好祝愿，预祝峰会圆满成功。习近平主席深刻指出，人民城市人民建，人民城市为人民，要建设创新、宜居、美丽、韧性、文明、智慧的现代化人民城市。在人民城市理念的指引下，中国深入推进以人为核心的新型城镇化，城镇人口由2012年的7.2亿增加到2025年的9.5亿，建成世界规模最大的城市住房保障体系，城镇人均住房面积超过40平方米。我们正在大力推动城市结构优化、动能转换、品质提升、绿色转型、文脉更续、治理增效，牢牢守住城市安全底线，努力走出一条中国特色城市现代化新路子。女士们、先生们、朋友们，今年是联合国新城市议程实施10周年，中国愿意携手各方，以人人共享城市为愿景，共同建设更好的城市家园。在此，我愿提出4点建议。第一，更加注重宜居安居，着力满足群众刚性和多样化改善性住房需求，建设更多安全、舒适、绿色、智慧的好房子，优化城市空间布局，完善基础设施，提升公共服务水平，营造舒适便利的生活环境。第二，更加注重安全韧性，加强房屋和城市基础设施安全管理，全面提升房屋安全保障水平，把风险防控有机嵌入城市管理系统，健全城市公共安全体系，筑牢韧性城市的安全防线。第三，更加注重创新发展，立足城市资源禀赋和基础条件，积极培育创新生态，增强城市的发展动力，促进人工智能、大数据等新技术与城市建设发展相融合，提升城市治理智慧化、 精细化水平。第四，更加注重交流合作，支持联合国人居署等国际组织更好发挥作用。中国愿意积极分享城市建设发展的经验，加强全球城市间对话交流、项目合作和人文往来，共同破解城市现代化进程中的共性问题。城市让生活更美好，合作让未来更可期。中国愿与各方一道，在城市领域共同落实全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议、全球文明倡议、全球治理倡议，共同构建人类命运共同体，推动全球城市迈向更加美好的明天。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency Constantino Chiwenga, Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. You have the floor, Excellency.
Your Excellency Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. The Republic of Zimbabwe expresses its appreciation to President Ilham Aliyev and the people of the Republic of Azerbaijan for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to me and my delegation since our arrival in this beautiful and historical city of Baku. In the same vein, we pay tribute to the Republic of Azerbaijan, previous hosts of the 12th World Urban Forum, the Arab Republic of Egypt, and United Nations Human Settlement Program for transforming the World Urban Forum into an apex global conference focused on how cities should be planned, built, managed for sustainable urban development worldwide. The participation of heads of state and government at this 13th World Urban Forum, including Zimbabwe, where I was delegated by the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, demonstrates the elevation and prioritization of the global discourse on sustainable urban development. As guided by the theme, Housing the World, Safe and Resilient Cities and Communities, the 13th World Urban Forum should foster global collaboration and strengthen political commitment and practical strategies to address the global housing crisis, including informal settlements and homelessness affecting nearly 3 billion people worldwide. The Republic of Zimbabwe congratulates the Republic of Kenya for hosting the second Africa Urban Forum, noting that its contribution strategic direction, and declaration are expected to feed into the global urban agenda for this 13th World Urban Forum. Excellencies and distinguished guests, delegates, the summit offers Zimbabwe a strategic opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to the global development agenda, especially Sustainable Development Goal 11, which aims to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable by 2030. Zimbabwe emphasizes transforming urban spaces into engines of economic growth, innovation, and social inclusion, with expectations that the summit will deliver practical strategies to turn urbanization into drivers of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Zimbabwe is aware that government alone cannot meet the housing demand due to competing priorities and limited resources, and therefore highlights the role of the private sector in financing, construction, and innovation through public-private partnerships to accelerate housing delivery and infrastructure development. Excellencies and distinguished delegates, the Zimbabwean government views housing as more than just shelter, but a basic human right. Our strategic direction is determined by the Zimbabwe National Human Settlements Policy, which comprehensively addresses the entire human settlements delivery value chain. Initially, Zimbabwe faced a deficit of approximately 1,500,000 housing units. The deficit was reduced by 1 million housing units that were delivered during the period 2020 to 2025. In this second phase, 2026 to 2030, we are targeting another million units in full acknowledgement that the deficit is a moving target. Excellencies, distinguished guests, our collective responsibility at this summit must therefore go beyond adopting a declaration, but translate to renewed commitment to implementation and measurable progress. As I conclude, allow me to reiterate Zimbabwe's commitment towards building smart, resilient, and inclusive cities that uphold dignity, opportunity for all, and act as engines for sustainable growth. Together, we can fulfill the promise of a hopeful future of our people and generations to come. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. It is my great pleasure to welcome His Excellency Igor Sergeyenko, Chairman of the House of Representatives of the National Assembly of the Republic of Belarus, to deliver his remarks. You have the floor, Excellency.
Уважаемые участники форума, позвольте от лица белорусской делегации выразить признательность президенту Азербайджана, уважаемому Ильхаму Гейдаровичу, а также всем организаторам данного мероприятия за высокий уровень подготовки и традиционно радушное гостеприимство. В названии темы нашего форума есть слова «мир» и «безопасность». Это то, что сегодня актуально как никогда. Президент Республики Беларусь Александр Григорьевич Лукашенко неоднократно заявлял: без мира нет устойчивого развития. Мы подтверждаем устойчивую высокую приверженность своим международным обязательствам и проводим миролюбивую внешнюю политику на основе взаимовыгодного сотрудничества с партнерами, в том числе в сфере инфраструктурного строительства и развития городской среды. Наглядный пример такого партнерства – совместный проект Беларуси и Азербайджана по созданию агрогородка в Агдамском районе. Данная идея принадлежит руководителям наших стран, и уверен, что реализация этого проекта послужит повышению уровня жизни многих азербайджанцев. Беларусь готова делиться опытом и возможностями в градостроительной сфере. Наша страна активно поддерживает мировые тренды урбанизации. Инициативы ООН «Хабитат» – это реальные инструменты, которые мы внедряем, создавая примеры наилучших практик в городах и других населенных пунктах. В программе социально-экономического развития Беларуси на 2026-2030 годы, утвержденной Всебелорусским народным собранием, одним из 7 важнейших приоритетов определено создание качественной и удобной среды для жизни. Национальной стратегии устойчивого развития Беларуси на период до 2040 года особое место также отведено жилищному строительству. Его цель проста и понятна. Каждый гражданин должен быть обеспечен хорошим и доступным жильем, которое отвечает его запросам и соответствует современным стандартам. Будущее за энергосберегающими технологиями, применением современных экологических инженерных систем, проектирования зданий. Мы уходим от обычных построек к умным жилым массивам. Высокий уровень обеспеченности населения Беларуси жильем, объектами транспортной, социальной инфраструктуры является результатом проведенной целенаправленной градостроительной политики. Беларусь активно развивает концепцию устойчивых городов, где энергоэффективные дома соседствуют с парковыми территориями и продуманным благоустройством. Мы строим таким образом, чтобы природа и современные технологии работали вместе на благо людей. Одним из хорошо зарекомендовавших республике способов решения жилищного вопроса является предоставление гражданам арендного жилья. Делается акцент на дальнейшее наращивание объемов жилищного строительства с последующим развитием индивидуальной жилой застройки. Цель соответствующих решений – повышение качества жизни людей, предоставление возможности пользоваться безопасным, комфортным и, самое главное, с доступным жильем. Приоритетными направлениями являются сокращение выброса углекислого газа и его негативное влияние на окружающую среду, а также более широкое использование возобновляемых источников энергии. Уважаемые участники форума, нынешняя сессия совпадает с десятилетием реализации новой программы развития городов. Этот период стал временем поиска оптимальных решений. Сегодня необходимо закрепить наши успехи и наметить новые ориентиры. Беларусь открыта для искреннего диалога и живого партнерства, готова вместе с вами искать ключи к решению проблем современной урбанистики. Только объединив усилия, о чем говорили многие, и слыша каждого, мы сможем построить города, в которых будут условия, созданные для благополучной жизни. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you, Excellency. I have the honor to invite His Excellency Tomáš Taraba, Deputy Prime Minister of Slovakia and Minister of Environment. The floor is yours, Excellency.
Your Excellency, President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to address the 13th session of the World Urban Forum here in Baku city that symbolizes bridges, history and modern development and an appropriate setting for a discussion. Allow me also to thank for all the hospitality we received, me and my delegation from the Republic of Azerbaijan. For Slovakia, urban policy is not viewed in isolation. It is closely linked with environmental policy, energy systems, and economic resilience. Cities are not only centers of growth. There are also critical infrastructure systems that must be secure, functional, and adaptable. I would like to underline Slovakia's strong support for the Sustainable Urban Resilience for the Next Generation search initiative of UN Habitat. We see this initiative as a practical and result-oriented platform. Our support is not only political, but also substantive. We are committed to contributing expertise, sharing experience, and supporting implementation efforts that lead to measurable improvements in urban resilience. A growing number of cities around the world are facing the consequences of military conflicts. Urban infrastructure is damaged or destroyed. Basic services are disrupted. Communities are displaced. The challenge is not only reconstruction, but long-term revitalization. And Slovakia is ready to assist by this renovation. In our country, 55% of our households live in houses. Not all of them are new, and a lot of them are being built 7 years ago, and they need to be modernized. For this reason, our purpose is that people have the lowest possible costs for living, and for this reason Slovakia supported heavily the modernization of old dwellings. I think that every country now has the same challenge, and this is to provide cost-effective, energy-effective, but also a good standard of living for everyone. But higher standards that are very often required by new policies mean that they increase the prices. And I think that we should tackle the climate change not only by input of new standards, but also to preserve communities not falling into a new way of property, new way of social unrest and poverty. We have to recognize that new standards very often are pushing prices high, and fighting climate change has to be done, but it has to be done in the most effective way that will not solve only one problem and creating the second one. Slovakia has a unique expertise in water management, and we are ready to assist in this expertise and to share it with other countries of the world. Thank you once again for all the hospitality and that Slovakia can be part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Deryageldi Orazov, Chairman of the State Committee for the Construction of the City of Arkadak under the President of Turkmenistan. The floor is yours, Excellency.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые участники форума, дамы и господа. Поздравляем вас с началом 13-й сессии Всемирного форума урбанизма, ведущей глобальной конференции по устойчивой урбанизации, организованной ООН «Хабитат» при поддержке правительства Азербайджана, и искренне желаем успешной работы форума. Сегодня города – это ключевые центры стремительно развивающейся мировой экономики. Одним из процессов их становления является урбанизация. Урбанизация изучает города как сложные системы, объединяющие людей, пространство и технологии. Она объединяет знания из разных областей – архитектуры, градостроительства, социологии, экономики, экологии и географии. В целом урбанизация – один из ключевых процессов современного мира. Проводимый под эгидой ООН статусный форум сегодняшний этому наглядный пример. Как выступавшие ранее до меня руководители ООН, главы государств, правительств отмечали, что урбанизация невозможна без экологического подхода и, в частности, что поднимали глобальные вопросы. Разрешите мне представить вам город, новый город Аркадак, который объединяет в себе принципы, предъявляемые к современным городам, такие как безопасность, экологичность и высокоэффективность. Город построен буквально недавно, и за это время он смог охарактеризовать себя как город умный, экологичный и безопасный. Как вы знаете, решение очень важных государственных вопросов начинается с изучения истории. Идея создания строительства нового современного нашего города принадлежит нашему национальному лидеру туркменского народа, который провел большую аналитическую работу по изучению различных регионов нашей страны для определения места строительства нового города. Под его руководством был разработан и спроектирован генеральный план города с учетом всех природных богатств данной местности. При этом к вопросу планировки и расположения города подошли с научной стороны, где рассматривались вопросы природно-климатического ориентирования, погодных условий, в том числе розы ветров, сейсмические условия, наличие инженерной инфраструктуры, наличие зеленых насаждений и ряд других вопросов, которые способствуют сохранению экологической обстановки региона. При строительстве города особое внимание уделялось реализации концепции «безопасный, зеленый и умный город». Следует отметить, что концепция умного города базируется на интеграции передовых информационно-коммуникационных технологий, посредством которых создается единая система, обеспечивающая слаженное управление городскими структурами и службами, что способствует повышению качества жизни населения. Одним из направлений безопасности города является система видеонаблюдения, предназначенная для визуального контроля и автоматического анализа изображения с возможностью обработки сценариев по оказанию экстренной помощи единой службы 123. В городе Аркадак для комфортного передвижения лицами с нарушениями зрения установлены тактильные наземные указатели, которые являются одним из необходимых средств для их социально-средовой адаптации. А на светофорах звуковые сигналы и световые знаки значительно увеличивают способность лиц с нарушением функции зрения и слуха передвигаться самостоятельно и безопасно. Для создания зеленого города было разработано несколько направлений. Одно из них – это бережное использование воды. Как вы знаете, на территории Туркменистана нашей страны располагается пустыня Каракум, которая занимает большую часть территории. Поэтому наши предки сравнивали каждую каплю воды с крупицей золота, поклонялись ей как самой большой святыне и величайшей ценности. Помня об этом, при строительстве города была разработана и построена технология по вторичному использованию воды. Это сбор подпочвенных и дождевых вод, которые поступают на полив зеленых насаждений. Сегодня во второй очереди строительства города продолжается работа по сбору подпочвенных и дождевых вод, а также ведутся работы по переработке воды после канализационных очистных сооружений для вторичного использования ее на полив и не только для города Аркадага, но и прилегающих населенных пунктов. Тем самым обеспечивая экономию водных ресурсов, нехватка которой является вопросом во всем мире. Следующим шагом было принято решение об использовании в городе Аркадак для общественного транспорта, автомобилей, для онлайн-службы, такси и электробусов, что положительно влияет на экологическую обстановку в городе. Также электромобили пользуются для доставки товаров покупателю онлайн-магазинов. Туркменистан – один из самых солнечных и самых жарких стран в Центральной Азии. Количество солнечных дней в году достигает до 240 дней, что способствует эффективному использованию солнечных электростанций как альтернативных источников энергии, особенно в городской среде. Сегодня в Аркадаге совместно с международными банками ведутся работы по использованию альтернативных источников питания, что значительно позволит снизить потребление электроэнергии и, как следствие, уменьшение выбросов вредных веществ при ее производстве. Экологические равновесия также призваны поддерживать озеленительные работы, проводимые в городе. Надо отметить, что по периметру города регулярно высаживаются хвойные, лиственные и фруктовые деревья, а также различные кустарники. Можно сказать, что город Аргабах создан не только с применением интеллектуальных систем, но и с позиции охраны природы. Это синтез передовой технической мысли и устойчивого экологического равновесия. Основной задачей проекта являлось не нарушать природные условия, а наоборот максимально содействовать их сохранению. Ведь охрана окружающей среды – один из главных приоритетов социальной политики Туркменистана. Мы можем сказать, город Аркадаг является еще одним наглядным отражением прогресса отчизны, а также предметом гордости туркменистанцев. Город удостоен около 40 сертификатов от международных организаций, в частности от Организации ООН «Хабитат», реализации принципов эксклюзивных, безопасных и устойчивых и интеллектуально экологически чистых районов и сообществ. И книга Гиннесса как самый масштабный урок садоводства, в котором приняли участие около 520 человек, которые подтверждают его уникальность. Эти награды являются признанием успехов, достигнутых в сфере национального градостроительства при поддержке руководства страны. Город Аркадаг динамично интегрируется и активно участвует в жизни страны. Сегодня мы особое внимание уделяем пространственному развитию города. В первую очередь мы подразумеваем развитие инженерной инфраструктуры, в том числе дорожной инфраструктуры. Это строительство железнодорожного вокзала, автовокзала, автомобильных дорог, что даст возможность развитию и интеграции города. Для активного отдыха жителей города построены стадионы, спортивные комплексы, парки, в которых располагаются площадки для активного отдыха и проведения мероприятий, беговые и велодорожки, беседки для отдыха и настольных игр. Забота о здоровье граждан – один из приоритетов государственной политики Туркменистана. В городе создана среда комфортная для всех жителей, включая детей с особыми потребностями. Для этого в городе работает детский оздоровительный реабилитационный центр имени Курбангулы Бердымухамедова. Работа центра при поддержке благотворительного фонда по оказанию помощи нуждающимся в опеке детям имени Гурбангулы Бердымухамедова осуществляется с использованием новейших достижений науки и современного медицинского и реабилитационного оборудования. Созданы все условия для реабилитации детей с ограниченными возможностями и их успешной интеграции в сообщество. Благотворительный фонд активно развивает международное сотрудничество, участвует в гуманитарных миссиях и укрепляет партнерство с различными международными структурами, в числе которых Детский фонд Организации Объединенных Наций ЮНИСЕФ, фонд Гейдара Алиева Азербайджан, фонд Сун Циклин Китай и другие общественные организации. Согласно принятой программе развития города, одним из направлений является развитие медицинской промышленности. Для этого ведется строительство медицинского кластера, где будут размещаться несколько производств востребованных медицинских продуктов, которые создадут новые рабочие места для населения. Эти производства основаны на силе природы и будут отвечать требованиям, предъявляемым к экологическому производству и с использованием концепции «зеленое строительство». Производство в медицинском центре планируется наладить с максимальным использованием местного сырья, которое произрастает и находится и производится на территории Туркменистана. Если говорить о сырье, то это целебные травы, которые растут в предгорьях района Туркменистана, природная соль, полиэтилен и полипропилен, производимые на предприятиях Туркменистана, и многие другие ресурсы. Одним из условий работы предприятий с медицинским кластером – это наличие соответствующих международных сертификатов. Город Аркадаг, построенный по инициативе национального лидера туркменского народа, демонстрирует успешный синтез традиционного уважения к природе. Он является практической моделью для засушливых регионов мира. Широкомасштабные программы и проекты, реализуемые в Туркменистане при поддержке уважаемого национального лидера туркменского народа и президента Туркменистана, придают мощный импульс коренным преобразованиям и гармоничному развитию страны. Уважаемые участники форума, желаем успех и надеемся, что форум даст нам больше возможностей для наших начинаний. Позвольте выразить глубокую благодарность национальному лидеру туркменского народа, председателю Халк Маслахаты Туркменистана и президенту Туркменистана за предоставленную честь предоставить наш проект на столь значимом международном форуме. Отдельная благодарность президенту Азербайджана Алиеву за традиционное гостеприимство и теплый прием. Благодарю ООН Хабитаб в лице Анклауд Росбах за безупречную подготовку и создание благоприятных условий для продуктивной работы. Спасибо большое за внимание.
Thank you, Excellency. It is my great pleasure to welcome His Excellency Sai Samal, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of the Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, Samdech Hun Manet, the Cambodian delegate is highly appreciate the Republic of Azerbaijan and the UN Habitat for co-hosting the 30th session of the World Urban Forum here in Baku. Thank you so much for your warm hospitality. You see, our glorious past and the peak of our civilization was during the Angkor era. Continuous internal conflicts and war during the last 500 years have made Cambodia a very vulnerable state. After independence from France, Cambodia was a young and vibrant country. However, the golden age did not last long. Cities across Cambodia were ravaged by Vietnam Wars during the 60s and 70s. Our city was emptied out by the Khmer Rouge. During the 80s, Cambodia was a Cold War battleground and was a broken country. Our former Prime Minister, Samdech Hun Sen, were able to bring different war factions to come together. He stimulated a national awakening to our people. He's initiated national reconciliations and healings. He has brought a new hope for Cambodia. Indeed, he is the father of our peaceful Cambodia. With peace, political stability, and sustained economic growth over the last 2 decades, Cambodia is embarking toward a middle-class society. This, of course, has opened up new opportunity for us to build a new Cambodia. The current government of Cambodia, under the leadership of Samdech Prime Minister Hun Manet, is seizing the opportunity in front of us, and we are building a new Cambodia. We are focusing on diversifying our economies and building more skillful workforce where people are working hard, earning a living, having enough food on the table, kids go to school, and people can live their life. We are also standardizing basic principles, infrastructures, services for cities across Cambodia. We are making our city more resilient and sustainable, giving more power and responsibility to our local administrator, proper budgeting scheme, conducting proper spatial planning, enhancing partnership and more foundations, investing on digital infrastructures, improving waste management and sanitation, traffic flows, public transport, public orders and security, universal education and healthcare, art, agricultural activity, as well as to improve affordable and inclusive mortgage scheme. We are also focusing on concessional policy, providing agricultural lands and affordable housing program for those who lie at the bottom of our society. In the last 10 years, we gave new life to about 500,000 families throughout Cambodia. We are improving new opportunity for people to be able to move away from informal settlement. Cambodia is hoping to end informal settlement in the near future. We are also focusing on building a home, not just providing housing. We are combating drug abuse, disease, diabetes, heart disease at home, enhancing family saving, reducing overall family debt, eating green and healthy, more public parks to keep people active. We are also fostering family culture and values, not only focus on STEM education, but we believe that kids should be inspired by arts, play music, and read books at home. However, changing global orders, the loss of biodiversity, climate change are a clear and present threat to Cambodia's recovery in the past decade. A peaceful world is our national strategic interest. Despite being among the lowest emitter of greenhouse gases, Cambodia has consistently done her share to mitigate climate change and to global diversity. Cambodia was the second LDC and the first in ASEAN to submit long-term strategy for carbon neutrality by 2050. We have also updated our NDC. We are allocating more funding for climate actions and having more renewable energy, a clear national energy efficiency policy, and we have approved a new pro-environment investment law and are greening our financial sectors. We also initiate ASEAN Green Deal and also present joint statement on climate change in Phnom Penh City. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at an era of a new promising Cambodia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I have the honor to invite Her Excellency Albana Kochu, Deputy Prime Minister of Albania. You have the floor, Excellency.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege to be here in Baku, a city that under the transformative leadership of President Aliyev has emerged as one of the important global centers of connectivity, dialogue, and forward-looking ambition. But Baku is not only a center of energy connectivity. It has also become a global platform for dialogue and ideas. Through the Baku process and the World Forum of Intercultural Dialogue, through COP29, through the Baku Call on Climate Action for Peace, Relief and Recovery, the Baku Adoption Roadmap and the Baku Initiative on Human Development for Climate Resilience, this city has placed itself at the intersection of some of the most urgent debates of our time: peace, climate, human development, and resilience. This is precisely why the theme of WUF13, Housing the World, Safe and Resilient Cities and Communities, could not be more timely. The global housing crisis now affects nearly 3 billion people, including more than 1 billion living in informal settlements. These are not just statistics. Behind these figures are familiars living without security, children growing without adequate services, and communities facing disaster without sufficient protection. No country in the world, wealthy or poor, is immune. Housing is not a secondary issue. It is one of the foundations of dignity, equality, and social stability. For Albania, this discussion is neither abstract nor distant. We know very well the power of infrastructure, urban planning, and public space to change the destiny of communities. When Albania emerged from communism, our cities carried the visible scars of neglect, informality, and isolation. In the early 2000s, Tirana, the capital, began to reinvent itself through a simple but radical intervention: the return of color, the recovery of public space, and the refusal to accept urban decay as normal. It was not only a visual transformation, it was an early lesson that cities shape the confidence of citizens, and that urban renewal can restore a sense of belonging. About a decade ago, Albania launched a transformative program of urban renaissance across the country's municipalities. At the time, many dismissed it as an urban cosmetic intervention provided to be a turning point in the requalification of public squares, promenades, historic centers, parks, and urban services. It helped our towns, each of them, without exception, become more livable, more attractive, and more prepared to benefit from new economic opportunities. The results are visible. Albania welcomed around 4.1 million foreign visitors in 2015. By 2025, that number had grown to over 12.4 million visitors. Tourism growth has many causes, but there is no serious doubt that better cities, improved public space, and stronger urban identities have been part of this national transformation. But Albania has also learned the meaning of resilience the hard way. In 2019, earthquake reminded us that housing is not simply a roof over one's head. It is protection, dignity, the first line of defense against disaster. In the years that followed, Albania worked to rebuild not only houses, but also schools, public services, and entire communities, guided by the principle of building back together. The experience taught us that reconstruction is not merely about replacing what was lost. It is about correcting old vulnerabilities and preparing better for future shocks. Today, our work is focused on three priorities. First, to place resilience at the center of housing, construction, and local development policies. The cities of tomorrow must not be built against nature, but with a clear understanding of seismic risk, floods, landslides, and extreme weather. And more importantly, to be built in a way that foresees what climate change will bring. Second, to continue investing in urban quality, public space, greener neighborhoods, restored centers, better services, and more inclusive cities. Third, to advance towards smarter cities. Albania has started a major national smart city initiative with intelligent monitoring systems and technology-driven urban management. We believe that smart cities are not a luxury for the future. They are becoming a necessity of the present. Technology also will not replace good governance, but without technology, governance will too often arrive late, after congestion, after disaster, after damage that could have been prevented. Dear friends, centuries ago, Marco Polo wrote of natural riches of this land, a place where energy already connected distant worlds. Today, Baku gives light once again, not only through its resources, but through ideas. Ideas on how to house the world, how to make it cities and our life safer, how to ensure that development does not produce new inequalities. This forum is not only about diagnosing a global crisis, it is about advancing solutions through innovation, investment, and implementation. And definitely, that is the only serious path forward. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. I now have the honor of inviting His Excellency Alexei Kuleba, Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine, to deliver his remarks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Ilham Aliyev, Your Excellency First Vice President, First Lady Mehriban Aliyeva, Executive Director of UN Habitat, Anna Claudia Rosbach, dear Excellencies, colleagues, friends, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the 13th World Urban Forum, our host, the Republic of Azerbaijan, and of course, UN Habitat. Ukraine and Azerbaijan truly understand the price of resilience, as well as the importance of strong infrastructure, energy security, and modern urban development. We deeply value our partnership and the opportunity to have this conversation here in Baku. Today, Ukraine is participating in this forum while facing a full-scale war that has been ongoing for over 4 years. In this war, we are losing our infrastructure, including housing, industrial assets, energy capacities, and human capital. According to the recent damage and needs assessment, destruction to our infrastructure sectors exceeds $195 billion. Housing alone accounts for over $60 billion, with restoration needs estimated at $88 billion. As a result, the war has fundamentally changed how we understand modern cities and daily life. In Ukraine, over 70% of the population continue to live in cities and urban areas, even though living in a city during wartime is incredibly challenging. We are rethinking our approach to urban planning, infrastructure, and public spaces. It is about a city's ability to fully function despite constant security threats, shelling, or blackouts. It is about energy independence, protection, and building shelters. And in frontline region, it means maintaining a full parallel life underground. We are integrating the principles of the new European Bauhaus sustainability and inclusivity into our restoration process. Today, accessibility is a fundamental requirement for war veterans, people with disabilities, families with children, and all citizens. For Ukraine, energy efficiency is a matter of national energy security and community resilience. Today, Ukraine has a unique opportunity to shape a new culture of urban development, a culture focused on resilience, human-centered design, and crisis readiness. Let me state a few examples. Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, following massive missile attacks in winter when the temperature was minus 20 degrees, more than 1 million people were left without heating. We had to set up heating stations right in the courtyards between residential buildings. We call them points of invincibility. We installed generators to provide our people with water and electricity, and today we are doing everything we can to make the city's neighborhoods home to hundreds of thousands of citizens, autonomous and less vulnerable to wartime challenges. This is our new reality. The war was created a unique situation in Ukraine. While some of our systems were destroyed, others are growing significantly stronger. Under this exact condition Ukraine continues to rebuild and restore. Our social resilience, adaptability, the role of local governments, digital governance, and the speed of decision-making have all grown. And this experience is truly unique. Most restoration models around the world are implemented after a war ends. Ukraine is rebuilding during an active war. Restoration starts with people, and restoration is for people. The key question is the community active? And this is the core principle that we have brought here to Baku. Let me give you one example more. This is about a small town near the Kyiv, Borodyanka. This town in the Kyiv region was destroyed by nearly 80% by Russian troops. Housing, schools, social infrastructure, entire neighborhoods were wiped out. Today, Borodyanka is more than 90% restored. And it was not just rebuilt. It was reconstructed comprehensively to meet all modern standards for safety, inclusion, energy sufficiency, autonomy, while integrating advanced digital solutions. And people are coming back home. This is the true meaning of restoration. Around the world, the housing crisis is becoming one of the biggest social challenges. For Ukraine, this problem has an even deeper dimension because of the war. Russia is committing a true urbicide, waging war against our cities. Around 40% of the country's housing stock has been damaged or destroyed. This includes more than 338,000 private homes and over 41,000 apartment buildings. More than 4.6 million Ukrainians affected by the war were forced to leave their homes and move to safer regions. For us, housing is a fundamental precondition for people to return, for preserving communities, and for maintaining social stability. It is a human right to have a home. That is why today Ukraine is emphasizing the need to create new housing, develop modern housing policies, and build an affordable, safe, and living environment. To repeat, security cannot be a separate policy anymore. It must be a part of a city architecture, transport, energy, housing, schools, and hospitals. Today, Ukraine is not just a country that is rebuilding. It is a country shaping a new global ways to make cities resilient in the 21st century. What we are building now is a model of a city that can survive war, energy attacks, and humanitarian crisis all the same time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I would now warmly welcome Her Excellency Maryam Nawaz Sharif, Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Pakistan. You have the floor, Excellency.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It is a privilege to join the Leaders' Summit at the World Urban Forum in Baku, a city that reflects modern urban infrastructure, vision, and global connectivity, and whose historic old city reflects shared civilizational links, including ancient trade routes such as the Multan Sarai and centuries-old people connections between Pakistan and Azerbaijan. I bring with me the greetings of my father, former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, and the current Prime Minister, Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif, and love from the people of Pakistan. I would like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the government of Azerbaijan, to the President of Azerbaijan, for the warm hospitality and arrangements par excellence. Thank you very much. It was indeed deeply inspiring to listen to His Excellency, President Ilham Aliyev's vision for sustainable development and resilient cities, his leadership in transforming Baku and Azerbaijan into modern, vibrant, and globally connected place is truly commendable. My father, ladies and gentlemen, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, and the founding leadership of Azerbaijan, particularly late Haider Aliyev, may his soul rest in peace, shared a relationship rooted in trust, mutual respect, and deep, profound friendship. They were true brothers in spirit, and that bond of friendship between the two countries continues to define the strength of Pakistan-Azerbaijan relations today. And so, standing here today in Baku, I feel I have not come to a foreign land. I have come home. And I consider it as a matter of honor that my first visit to any Central Asian country is here in Baku, a city that represents resilience, transformation, and progress. Excellencies, I bring to you a story from Punjab, Pakistan, a province of more than 130 million people, on a journey of transformation, on a journey of challenge, on a journey of indomitable will, on a journey of unwavering resolve to redefine how cities are built and how dignity is delivered. At its heart, ladies and gentlemen, lies a simple truth. Cities become resilient only when development is people-centric, climate-conscious, and data-driven. Cities are not just roads and buildings. They are human stories where dignity is either protected or denied. When I took oath as the first woman Chief Minister of Punjab, I knew I was not inheriting a position. I was inheriting a responsibility. A responsibility to the woman walking miles, carrying water for her family, child breathing polluted air, and family living without secure shelter, and citizens waiting for promises, not for promises, but for dignity. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we launched the historic Punjab Economic Registry, the first ever province-wide door-to-door socio-economic data of its kind, guided by one principle: no one should be left behind. Because if something is not measured, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot be fixed. So our first priority was shelter. Under the flagship program of my government, in Urdu it is called Apni Chhat Apna Ghar. My roof, my home, is delivering one of the fastest and largest affordable housing initiatives in the world through zero interest. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to share with you that in just less than a year, 160 families have received housing support, and more than 100,000 families have completed and already moved into their new homes. But ladies and gentlemen, behind every number is a challenge. A mother no longer fearing rain on her children, a father finally able to say that this is my home. This is not just housing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a dignity. This is dignity made permanent. Through our Model Villages program, more than 2,000 villages are being transformed across Punjab with clean drinking water, with sanitation, sewage, drainage, paved street, and solar infrastructure. Access to clean drinking water has become a central public health and human dignity priority for me across Punjab. For the first time at this scale, ladies and gentlemen, Punjab is expanding clean drinking water infrastructure across urban and rural communities alike through new filtration systems, upgraded supply networks, and sustainable water solutions. Because no woman should have to walk miles carrying water for her family, and no child should suffer because of unsafe drinking water. Because dignity must not depend on geography. When villages are dignified, cities are strengthened. Rural uplift is urban resilience. Punjab has launched a historic urban development program of more than $2 billion across Punjab, rebuilding roads, drainage, sewage, water storage, and urban resilient infrastructure. More than just in 2 years' time, Excellencies, more than 30,000 kilometers of roads have been constructed and completed, reconnecting communities, restoring mobility and economic activity in just 2 years. There is a lot more to come, inshallah. Urban flooding resilience is now being systemically strengthened across Punjab. After last year's flooding events, we had devastating floods last year that displaced about 5 million families. And to rehabilitate them was no mean feat, ladies and gentlemen. So now we immediately shifted toward flood-resilient infrastructure and climate-adaptive urban planning. This is the first time in decades that urban flooding is being addressed in a structured and data-driven way. For the first time, under magnificent Punjab, we are undertaking a comprehensive revival of tourism, heritage, and cultural infrastructure across Punjab. More than 100 heritage sites, museums, archaeological landmarks, ecotourism destinations, and religious sites are under renovation, restoration, preservation, and rescue, reconnecting our people with history, identity, and culture, while making our cities more tourist-friendly, inclusive, and globally connected. Lahore, the capital of Punjab, is a walking museum and the cultural heartbeat of Pakistan, has proudly been declared the ecotourism capital for 2026 and 2027. The SCO has also recognized Lahore as a major tourism and cultural destination. I invite you all earnestly to come and see the magnificence that Punjab holds. This revival is not only about preserving the past, it is about creating opportunity, strengthening identity, and opening our cities to the world with pride, humility, and confidence. Through our flagship Suthra Punjab, means Clean Punjab program, more than 150,000 sanitation workers serve the province every single day in multiple shifts, making it one of the world's largest solid waste collection programs. This initiative is now being strengthened and modernized with a clear direction toward a waste-to-value transition, where solid waste will gradually be processed into recycling streams, compost, and energy recovery systems. This marks an important shift from traditional sanitation towards a circular economy model where cities are not only kept clean, but also designed to become more resource efficient, sustainable, and future ready. A clean city is not only dignity, it is sustainability in action. Air quality has become a central priority. With a multi-sectoral, technology-driven approach to smog control, focused on enforcement, monitoring, real-time monitoring, and compliance, clean air now in Punjab is not a privilege, it is a right. Punjab is building a clean mobility future. 1,100 electric buses have been introduced in the first phase, with a target of 5,000 electric buses by 2029, 2,000 buses this year, alongside electric bikes and electric taxis. Under Plant for Punjab, we have planted over 50 million trees in 2 years, restoring ecological balance and building urban forest rings. 1% of all the development spending is now dedicated to climate resilience. We have expanded the Safe City, technology-driven camera surveillance program to all parts of Punjab. The whole of Punjab is now CCTV monitored, because I believe that safe cities are not only about surveillance and keeping an eye on law and order. They are about technology, they're about prevention, they are about protection, especially for the vulnerable sections of the society, for women and children, and every citizen. Excellencies, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable President of Azerbaijan today rightly said in the morning opening session that development demands courage, because courage leads to bold decision-making, and decision-making leads to effective implementation. I fully agree with this guiding principle, and this is what I'm taking home, Excellencies, because courage is at the heart of every meaningful reform and project I am pursuing for the last 2 years. From housing to urban resilience, every project I have undertaken is driven by bold and daring spirit to change the status quo. For every leader, this strikes a chord that development is never cautious. It is the courage that makes all the difference. Friends, the success of government is not measured in speeches, but in lives changed, in lives improved. From Baku, a city of transformation, we carry a shared message. Resilient cities are not a privilege. They are right for all humanity. Let us turn vision into action and ambition into impact, so that our cities are defined not by inequality, but by dignity, resilience, and hope. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Pakistan Zindabad, Azerbaijan Zindabad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today's leaders' session has demonstrated the growing importance of cities and urban development within the global agenda and the value of dialogue at the highest political level. The perspectives and commitments shared today will contribute to strengthening international cooperation and advancing collective efforts toward more sustainable, resilient and inclusive urban future. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all heads of state and government, as well as to all distinguished participants for your presence and contributions to this important discussion. It has been a great privilege for Baku to host this historic leaders session within the framework of the World Urban Forum. With this, I would like to formally conclude the leaders session. Thank you.
you.